Morning. Morning. How's everyone doing? Let's lock in. No emotions, good decisions. Love to hear it. Lido. Yeah, it's a good question, Lido. I'm definitely, I've been dollar cost averaging this entire year. So, I can't say it was the best decision. I don't mind it personally because it's with a small amount of money, and if things keep going down, I'll just keep buying. It's not the amount of money that I'm putting into it is not substantial to me. It's not like I am taking away from money I need from bills or money I need to survive. So for me, it's not a huge deal. So obviously I'm still down this year. Obviously the market's still moving down. I'm happy to keep buying because I know I'm buying stocks at decent prices. Who knows what happens in the future, but at least I know, I'm pretty happy about, what I'm buying, the prices I'm buying at, right? It all comes down to what you're comfortable with, but it's hard to say. It's impossible to get it perfectly right with investing. You just got to be. The market is. I'm sure you heard this before. Time in the market is better than timing the market. So, I don't think it's a bad time to start. You're getting obviously huge discounts, but yeah, it's a tough one. Multiplayer drops in. Does it? I thought it was like November something. J Price. The campaign for Modern Warfare is insane. If anyone has played it, it's crazy good. It's just like, it looks like a movie. The graphics are insane. I've never seen a game with such good graphics. So that's pretty cool for COD. Finally, a pretty sweet campaign. I like how they released the campaign early so that people played it. You get more connected to it. It's a good idea. All right, let's get started. Thanks. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed last night's video. It was a little bit about we talk about that in the live stream a lot, right? We talk about psychology. We talk about the channel trades where people don't want to buy the channel lows because maybe they're a little concerned that it's going to break down. But the channel lows are usually the best place to take purchases, to take the long entries, sort of that kind of concept. If you guys want to check that out, it was my video from yesterday. All right, so good morning, everyone. Hope everyone having a good morning. Today, we are seeing a little bit of downside in the pre-market because of Google and Microsoft earnings. But I got to be honest, guys, if you look back, you zoom out, and you look at some of the important levels, there's not many big breaks on the important levels. So yes, it was a little bit negative for Microsoft, Google. I would assume, maybe it does bring some weakness into today. But if you ignore that there was earnings yesterday and you just look at the technical levels, we didn't break anything. Nothing was broken in the after hours last night. So it's interesting, right? This could be one of those days where you come into the day a little bit too bearish because of Google and Microsoft earnings, and it ends up, going against you. So we definitely want to head into today unbiased because the ES is still very strong. The Dow is very strong. The Russell's green. Just the NASDAQ gave back a little bit, but it is still above yesterday's lows. So we want to just come in a little bit unbiased because it's interesting, right? We held yesterday's lows again in the futures market. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these levels. I think they're going to be very, very important today. And then on top of that, we have Meta reporting today as well, which could be, even more important. Enphase, was Enphase this pre-market? I missed that. Yeah, okay, I forgot that Enphase was this, or was it last night? Yeah, I'm all out of that Enphase position. Oh yeah, it was last night. Enphase, Visa, Chipotle. Yeah, we'll look at all these. Yeah, Enphase pushed up a little bit. All right, let's get started. So guys, futures economic earnings calendar. Let's go ahead and pull up that earnings calendar real quick because that is obviously the most important here. Let me get that up for us here. All right. Here it is. So, Microsoft, Alphabet, that was yesterday, right? Enphase, we'll take a look at Enphase, Visa, Chipotle, Spotify, Texas Instruments, Skechers, Boyd, and F5. I don't know what those are, but Texas Instruments is for semiconductors, Spotify, Chipotle, Visa, Enphase. We'll take a look at these today. Just a quick look. I'm not going to do anything crazy. Boeing this morning, moving higher. I think this is off their cash flow number. Thanks, Tesla, for pointing that out. I think that cash flow is very important for Boeing. Cash flow was like the main thing that was being watched for Boeing during their tough times. They really pointed out, their negative cash flow. That was very big. So I think we had a positive cash flow this quarter, and I think that is why you're seeing a little bit of Boeing upside this morning. So Boeing, Waste Management, you got some other Dow names, Bristol Myers, Kraft Heinz, nothing crazy. I'll sort of look at Boeing. Meta, this is going to be big, right? This is going to be big. Meta is, you guys remember, this is where it all started, guys. I think Meta was basically the ignition for the downside that we have seen this year. If you guys remember that earnings, I forgot what month it was. If you guys remember, just put it in the chat. I'm not going to take time to go back. Meta's earnings, maybe it was like a year ago now, was disastrous. It was one of the worst moves I've seen in a long time on earnings. I think it was down like 30%, something like that. And that is a big name to be down 30%. It was dangerous. So we'll see what happens this time. Meta is going to be very important here. Definitely will move the market. Please understand that, right? This is why I talked about the sympathy moves. It will move the other market, the other stocks. It will move other social media stocks. It will move other tech names. There will be sympathy moves on this market because of Meta. Teladoc, ServiceNow, nothing crazy. Tomorrow, Shopify, right? McDonald's, Caterpillar, Southwest, MasterCard. Netflix. Was it Netflix that started all this? Yeah, was Netflix before the Meta breakdown? Okay, it was one of the two. Apple, Amazon, those are big as well. And then on Friday, we have our energy names: ExxonMobil, Chevron, and we have AbbVie as well. So that's that. It's okay. So it was Netflix and Meta, both in February, were just destructive. I remember that. That was a crazy time. I actually remember where I was when Meta reported. I vividly remember it. So that's the earnings calendar. Let's go ahead and pull up the economic side. Nothing crazy today. We have trade in goods and new home sales. Nothing that is going to be really important, I think, here. So I wouldn't expect anything here. You can watch for 10 o'clock and see if there's any movement, but I don't think so. Thursday, tomorrow, this is pretty important. Real gross domestic product, GDP, initial jobless claims. We'll see if there's any movement there. We'll be here in the pre-market, in the live stream. And then on Friday, can't believe it's almost Friday already. We have PCE price index. We have real disposable income, real consumer spending, consumer sentiment, 5-year inflation expectations. So that's on Friday. All right. So I think still the real thing in focus here this week is still going to be tech earnings, right? Tech earnings is going to be the big one. We'll look at Google, Microsoft. We'll look at Boeing as well. I'll pop up some of the other names that reported earnings last night. We have Meta up next. We'll take a look at Meta. Netflix is still holding a pretty key level. Want to watch that. AMD and Nvidia, extremely key breakouts yesterday on the upside on AMD and Nvidia. I played both of these. I did not trade them to the best of my ability, unfortunately. They were a little bit sort of faked me out early morning. Should have gave more trust in it. But AMD and Nvidia did exactly like we talked about in the live stream, and I just did not execute. And this is a great example, guys, right? You're not going to always execute at your best ability as a trader. It's going to happen all of the time. It still happens to me. It's going to happen. If someone out there does not tell you that they don't someone out there tells you that they execute 100% perfectly all the time, it's complete BS, okay? It's the stock market, right? It's worked. It works to sort of fake you out. So, I had a little bit of trouble trading Nvidia, AMD yesterday. I'll talk about it when we get to it. It was pretty interesting what happened. Apple 150 and 100 SMA. Really like this 150 level on Apple. I'm going to share it with you guys today. The dollar index was dropping yesterday, and this was a big part of why we saw upside intraday. So I definitely recommend keeping an eye on that Dixie today. DXY, $DXY. All right. And then we'll go over the tickers that you guys want to look at. I'll throw some stuff in that I feel is important while we're sort of going over the stream. So let's get started. If you're feeling generous today, if you woke up feeling generous, that like button just sitting there. It's waiting for you. All right, let's do it. All right, NASDAQ 4-hour. I'm liking the 4-hour here on the NASDAQ now because we have came into a incredibly important 4-hour. I'm going to actually change this to, where is it? I'm going to do that. Yeah, that looks better. All right, so what am I looking at here? Hopefully everyone sees this right. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more so it just looks nice and big for everyone here. Huge level on the NASDAQ. Right here, 11,730, 11,720, all in that area. Look at how important this is going to be, guys. This is going to be very important. Look at where we've topped out multiple times, right? Rejection. So this is, if you want to see more upside on this market, this has to break. If we move back into this level, you have to be careful. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I hope you do. I actually gave out like a trade that I took intraday, and I took NQ shorts off this level. Worked out beautifully. Made about $1,500. Even though we were very strong all day yesterday, Mid-afternoon, we were starting to find some pretty key rejections here. Went ahead and took some MNQ and NQ shorts and a very nice downside move yesterday. I did not hold overnight. That's not something I'm willing to do, but a nice move to the downside on NQ off 11,700 area up here. So that is definitely the level to watch. Just very, very crucial. Okay, so that's first, right? That's first. Twitter handle is down on the bottom left of your screen. So that's important. Now, where did we pull back to? Now, when I talked about, we didn't break any major levels on the NASDAQ, this is what I'm referring to. So we pulled back off the 11,700 off Microsoft and Google earnings. But where did we hold, right? We held this 11,400 level pretty nicely. So this is going to be the level for you to watch today. Here's the hourly chart. And we held this previous rejection point and previous little area of support pretty nicely, 11,400. So this 11,400 will have to break if you want to trade to the downside. There is not a downside trade unless we slip through this 11,400 level. This is a previous rejection point. This is some previous consolidation and rejections here. We got above, we held the support, we pushed off of it, came right back down to it in the after hours, and you can see where we held. So we need to see this break before we can get too aggressive on the short side, right? If you don't wait for that to break today, and you say, I don't care, I'm bearish because of Microsoft and Google earnings, maybe you get a little bit of downside. But if this thing holds here again and it pops once again off that 11,400, you're not going to have a good time shorting that. So watch out for that 11.4. That will, if that breaks, then you have a little bit more, leeway to the downside. I think if that breaks, you probably move down to maybe this 20 SMA, maybe these previous lows here around 11,250, 11,300. All right. So here's your major little channel today that I'm watching, right? You can either trade between 11.4 and 11.7. Maybe you bounce off 11.4 again, back into 11.7, right? But this is a major supply up here to be careful of. And then to the downside, you got to watch this 11.4 area. I think you need to see that break before you can get too aggressive to the downside. Even though we had, sort of negative earnings on Microsoft and Google, you guys can see when we zoom out here, we did not really break anything. So don't get too aggressive to a single direction here today. We didn't do anything that really, like if we moved down to maybe here and broke this previous high and we're sitting at the 20, then maybe it'd be a little bit more bearish here. But this key hold right here of 11.4 is definitely something to watch. All right, so watch that 11.4 on the NASDAQ if you're looking for downside. And then if you're looking for upside, you want to see that 11.4 hold, and you want to see us try to attempt that 11.7 again. What is that? It's not the ES. ES. So the ES barely moved down off those earnings, right? If we go to the 5-minute chart, you can see this is the ES reaction off the earnings. It moved down, and it's basically made it all back up. If we go to the hourly chart, actually, you know what? Let's go 4-hour. Go to the 4-hour on the ES. Very similar look, right? So here's the 4-hour on the ES. And where did we reject yesterday, right? Where was the rejection point? The rejection point was right here at this previous major support around 38.50. Previous support, and support. This, I believe, was, we were talking about it yesterday. I think this was FOMC, September 21st. So big drop here, right? You got that flush through this major level, and we are right back at it. So you can see the ES has pushed up. It has came right back into this previous demand, and that is going to act as a supply now. Previous demand, if you're below it, will act as a supply when you come back into it. So 38.50, that is a major level there today that we need to get through. You have the 50 SMA and the 100 SMA above as well. So watch out for any kind of rejections at these SMAs on the daily chart. That's important. So keep an eye on that. If we reject off this again, right, what levels do we need to watch here? Let's go to the hourly chart and get a quick look at this. So on the hourly, we can see first important level, in my opinion, is these previous highs right here, right around this 38.20. I'm going to be keeping an eye on 38.20 to see if that has any type of demand that steps in. And then I'm going to be keeping an eye on 37.75 right here, this previous high, to see if any demand steps in there. So 37.75, 38.20, and then 38.50 seeing if we get pullbacks, right? What happens at these levels? Do we see this, right? Do we break that? Do we see this? Or do we break 37.75 and see maybe an extended pullback towards the 20? Right? Those are the levels I'm watching today. And to the upside, 38.50. We need to break that for further upside. You have to break that. You got the 50 SMA, which is where the ES rejected perfectly. And the 100 SMA above as well. So really clean stuff. 38.20. Let's see. Was there a little break and retest at 38.20 yesterday? Yeah, pretty clean there. Not perfect, but yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, you can see it was a little bit of a retest of the pre-market. Look at that. Little retest of the pre-market highs right there. See pre-market highs? Look how clean that is. You guys see what we're talking about here? This happened. This is the sickest setup on the futures. You can make so much money by trading these retests on the futures. Look at this pre-market high. Pre-market high was right around 38.16, 38.17, right? We break the pre-market high. Look at this. This is so clean. Break it, pull back. You guys see where's the signal to buy here? I see it already. Where's the signal to buy here? I can see it. It's right in front of my face. It's staring at me. It's right here, guys. This. Look at this candle. Right? That candle that tried to break the retest level, that got bought up instantly. And then the following green candle, you take your buy here all day. Right? You take your futures buy, you take whatever buy, you take SPY calls, QQQ calls, whatever you want to trade. You take that buy there, you got a perfect stop loss right under that. Right? Maybe if it slips back again under that level, you take your stops. Perfect break and retest. Perfect break, retest, boom. Huge move. If you were actually in on this move, that's big time money on the future side. I missed it, but that was sick. All right. That's the ES. So 38.50. You guys can see it already. Look at the rejections coming in. That needs to break. 38.50. Dow. The Dow Jones. Dow Jones really is not giving up anything off that earnings last night from Microsoft and Google, which it shouldn't, because I don't even think Google and Microsoft are in this index or in this indice. So no, they're not, in fact. So big push, right? I don't see, it's a little Dow's sort of in the middle of a channel here. I would say maybe this 32,000 level is something to watch. This Psych 32,000. If we go back to this, I'm going to delete these SMAs because they're not important here. So you can see this previous 32,000 level, right? Right in here, 32,000. So I would watch that. You can see we're starting to come into that level today. I would keep an eye on 32,000 on the Dow. See if we can break and hold above that. If not, just watch some of these previous pivots, right? Pivot there, pivot there. Watch out for some of these pivot highs and see if when we pull back they hold. So 32,000, 31.6, 31.2. But yeah, 32,000 looks tough. Keep an eye on that. Russell's green this morning. So Russell is not having any type of effect. Russell's not getting affected at all, obviously, by Microsoft and Google. Go to the 4-hour. You can see a pretty big breakout for the Russell. Russell broke above a previous double top right here. What I would look for now, pullback, right? Pullback, hold right here, and then continuation. That's what I would look for on the Russell. Look for it to pull back. Look for it to hold 1780 as support now. Turn the previous double top rejection into support. Then you got yourself a very solid long entry right there. Previous double top rejection into support. Got yourself a very solid long entry right there in the Russell. That's what I would watch. All right. So, once again, guys, major rejections up at 11,730, 11,700. You got big time support at 11.4. Let's see which side breaks, right? That's all you're looking for today. Which side breaks here? On the ES, you're looking at 18. What happened here? Why did this line change? What did I do? Oh, I did it because I looked at that example. You're looking at this 38.20, right? And then you're looking at the 37.75, okay? And then on the upside, you're looking at 38.50 rejections. All right, let's continue. So let's take a quick look at Google, Microsoft. Google obviously moving lower off earnings. We'll go to the 4-hour chart here and we'll zoom out. So Google, yeah, not great for Google, and you can see we're sort of just stuck in this channel still. Rejected right off that 104 level that we talked about, and now we're back at sort of the channel lows. Not exactly, but we're close, maybe around this 97.50 level, and then down to this 95 level. So you guys can see we pulled back off earnings back to the 97.50 level, and that is what I would be watching today. So let me go to the hourly chart here. Here's the hourly chart. So I made 100% on Coca-Cola earnings in my Discord. Great, man. I mean, great. You just totally guessed on earnings. Fantastic. So support at 97.50. So I would watch out for that at 97.50. That's going to be a very important level here on Google. If we break that, I would look for this next low around this 95. So let's see what Google does at 97.50 today. That's going to be the big level. You previously held here. You previously held here. You previously held here as well. So if you do not hold this 97.50, watch out for that. If you do, look for that slippage. If you don't, look for that slippage. If you do, maybe a little bit more upside depending on the NASDAQ. All right, so that's Google. Nothing crazy. I probably won't even touch Google today. I'm not really in love with its option contracts. I'm not in love with its, its momentum type trade. It's really not my favorite, so I'm just going to sort of watch it. Microsoft, huge rejection off 250 off earnings. That was pretty nasty. You guys can see right here. We've been talking about that 250 level, and look at how nasty that rejection was right there. Look at that 250. Huge double top, boom and boom, and just got a huge rejection off the double top on Microsoft. So, yeah, you guys can see, like, this just kills the momentum, right? This just kills the momentum. It's earning strangles are not that good for earnings, Rob, and I'll tell you why. Because most of the time, earnings stay within their expected move, and strangles, you needed to beat the expected move. So you are still betting against a very low probability trade. So support, and once again, you're at that 230 support on Microsoft. So again, you are just within this channel on Microsoft. Just watch the channel high, watch the channel low. So same thing on Google and Microsoft. Microsoft moved down to the channel low, 232, 230. Watch that today. And then Google moved down to the channel low around 97.50. Watch that today. So let's just see how these sort of do day two. I think day two of these earnings moves, you want to sort of watch and just learn. I'd be careful getting too involved. Yeah, just watch and see how these react day two. That would be my opinion. So Boeing had positive free cash flow. I think that's probably why it's not getting crushed. It's a little bit down today, but it's holding up. Where is that? Yeah, operating cash flow $3.2 billion. That's pretty solid on the cash flow side. So that's probably a positive, but you definitely did miss revenue expectations, which is a little concerning. Almost $2 billion on the miss side. So that's something to watch out for. I'm not in love with Boeing either. You guys see me. I don't trade Boeing. I don't invest in Boeing. I think there will be a time to invest in Boeing, but as of right now, it just seems like it's dead money. I want to see it at least start to recover off the COVID lows, right? It's sort of sitting still at the COVID lows. It has not been able to recover off these lows. It did slightly and then just sort of fell right back lower. The airline industry seems to be in, a little bit of disarray to me. It's an interesting industry. I'm very intrigued by, what does 10 years from now look like in the airline industry? It's interesting. It really is. You can noticeably tell the difference in if you guys fly, you can noticeably tell the difference in the amount of delays, right? The amount of times that they don't have a pilot or they don't have flight attendants. It's very interesting how that the whole industry has been sort of messed up. So I'm interested to see how it all works out for them. But Boeing, I know Boeing's not directly correlated to that. They're more of the manufacturer, which they still have obviously demand. So support at 120 on Boeing. That's on the weekly chart. nothing crazy here, guys. I mean, this is not a chart that you can try to use technicals on, really. I mean, it's I don't really see anything here. I would just watch it today. I'm not going to trade Boeing. Maybe it tries to hold this previous rejection point right here around 141. But yeah, nothing that I really like. Boeing stock just does not look like a tradable stock right now. So that's Boeing. All right, let's start with Meta. So Meta's been stuck, and today's going to be real interesting on Meta. So let's see what the expected move on Meta is. Expected move on Meta is $15. Wow, that's big. So it's over 10%. The expected move on Meta is over 10%. So $15 to the upside is 145 right now. That's like right here. This is where the expected move is. And then expected move to the downside is what? 115. That is down under these lows. Right? So 115 to 145 is right now the expected move. That is where the market makers are pricing in a move, right? This is what the options are pricing in. If the market does not trade but above here or below here, IV crush will take an effect, right? Meta will need to move above 145 or below 115 after earnings is released for either calls or puts to appreciate or your strangles to appreciate, right? That is IV crush. So 145, 115. Let me zoom out here and see where we're at relative to the last few years. Yeah, that if we move to the downside into that 115, that's definitely going to be a pretty major break here, right? This is the lows of 2018 on Meta, right? You're sitting at the 2018 lows. If you break the 2018 lows off earnings today, that's going to be pretty nasty. That's like right back to this little pivot here around 115. So yeah, that's probably where you'd expect it to move down to today if you get a negative earnings on the downside, right? So here's the 4-hour. Even if we get upside on Meta earnings, we need to still be very cautious. I think the main important level here is this 155. You guys can see we had a shelf here of demand for about 4 months. You can see the demand that continued to step in here on Meta around 155. Look what happened after that broke. Just complete slippage after that breakdown. So I think no matter what, right, to get bullish on Meta, I think you really need to get a move. And you need to see this 155 turn into support again. Until this happens, I just don't think you can be very bullish here on Meta. Unless you're just investing in it and just sort of forgetting about it. That's what I would say, right? So 155, that's a very important level. Let's see what happens today. But of course, it's earnings, guys. We can't predict what happens. Let's just, understand that there's an expected move. Let's understand that you can get IV crush. Let's understand that it is a gamble to trade through earnings. Sympathy moves. I want to go over some sympathy moves, right? So what's going to move with Meta, right? You're obviously going to see Twitter move with Meta. You're going to see Snapchat move with Meta, right? These are the two social media names that I would expect you to see big moves on Meta. Meta is a advertising agency, really, more than anything. Meta is not, it's a social media, but it's more than anything an advertisement agency. So what other stocks are focused on ad revenue? Well, Google definitely is. We already saw Google, but I would expect there to be a little bit of movement on Google. They obviously have a huge ad revenue as well because of YouTube, as well as Google in general. So anything that has an importance on ad revenue will move with Meta. That is just how it works. I'm trying to think of some other off the top of my head, but if you guys think of any in the chat, put them in there. But Meta is ad revenue. The ad revenue number that we see on Meta will influence the other stocks that are influenced off ad revenue. Because if Meta is performing well on ads, then other companies will likely be looking at the same. Google might be telling you the story of Meta, right? Because Google had a lower than expected ad revenue on certain parts of their business, like YouTube ad revenue was down. So Google might be telling you what Meta might do, right? Kasim, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for the 50. Very, very, very thankful for that. Thanks for always supporting the stream, Kasim. Yeah, Pinterest, all those social media names, anything that's involved with ad revenue will be affected off Meta today. So just understand that. Netflix is getting into ad revenue too, which is interesting, right? But let's see. Netflix still moving up on in that gap. You guys can see it's finally working. If I zoom in here, you can see Netflix off their last earnings went ahead and pushed above that 250 level and has sort of continued in this gap. I would not be surprised to see a move to 330, right? If this market can somehow maintain, if Meta can come out good, if we see strong upside on the market still, if that continues, then I think Netflix sees 330. Obviously, if the market turns weak, if Meta sort of crushes this market today, then obviously you'll probably see some downside on Netflix. But Netflix in the gap fill, continuing very strong, looking for that I would look for that 330 level for a rejection point. But if you look at just Netflix over the last few days, it's held up pretty damn well. And Netflix at times does anything it wants, right? It doesn't really follow the market, which makes it a little bit of a difficult trade. So what would I be looking for? I would be looking for 280. Peng Zhang. Thanks for is that Canadian dollars? Canada, eh? Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. So rejection. I'd watch 280 here on Netflix. I think that's gonna be the major level to watch. 280 on Netflix. All right. Let's go Tesla real quick. So Tesla is sort of in the channel still. Not much really going on here. You can see the major rejections above, right? That's very clear. You don't want to mess with that rejection up there. So you can see all these rejections. They're very heavy. Look at all the wicks that are just sort of showing up there. So all this 225 rejection is just monstrous. You got huge rejections here. Big rejection right there. Big rejections here. And another rejection here, guys. So 225 is just not the level that you should be looking to buy calls. It's just simply not the level, right? You cannot try to buy calls into 225. The chart is showing you that it is not time, right? The chart is showing you do not buy calls at 225. And even if you miss this, even if you miss a breakout of 225, you did the right thing, right? This is telling you do not buy upside. But if it goes up, right, that's just the market doing something crazy, right? That's some kind of breakout that happened on the market, some kind of catalyst that caused Tesla to spike, and so be it, right? But this, you cannot let your emotions tell you, I want Tesla to break out here and I want to catch it. I do not want to be the person that misses this move, right? That is what makes you lose money. That is what every other trader does. It's what everyone does because they want to catch a Tesla breakout. They think about all the juicy call option premium that they're going to make on Tesla breakouts. They want to become rich. They want to trade Tesla. They want $1,000, and they buy calls. And they buy calls into an insanely major supply. So please pay attention to the chart. Don't get wrapped up in emotions on its talk like this. This is just not the time to be looking for upside. If it breaks 225, let it break. If it comes back down, if it starts to hold support here, right, and the market starts to get positive, we start to see some upside off this 225, then play it, right? Wait for that confirmation. Wait for the market to show you that it wants to do it. Right now is not the time. Watch out for those rejections. Those are very big rejections. I would say maybe it just trades in this channel. I would say it continues to trade in this channel, right? That would be my guess. From looking at this chart, my opinion is that it trades in the channel. Now, Tesla can do anything it wants, but that's what I would be looking for, right? I would be looking for the channel trade on Tesla. All right? What's CNBC sending me? Bed Bath & Beyond shares fall 10% as interim CEO Sue Gove appointed to position permanently. All right. Apparently, they do not like that CEO. And I could care less anyway because it's Bed Bath & Beyond. All right. So here's AMD, and this is why I said it was a very important break here on AMD. So yesterday, we had a break and retest of $60. And I bought calls off of it, off the break and retest. And it worked out decent, right? If I would have held on, it would have worked out beautifully. But I'll show you guys what was going on. So rejections all in here, right? This is where you're starting to get a little bit of that confirmation, what we just talked about in Tesla. All these rejections at 60. We break above it. We come back to it. And you can see we're trying to hold 60 this morning. If AMD can maintain this 60 level today, right? If it can start to consolidate at 60, start to make some higher lows and higher highs, then I would be looking to play AMD off 60. This is a break. This is a retest. This is a previous triple top rejection that is potentially turning into support. That is potentially bullish. So watch for that 60 today on AMD. I'll show you where I got into this. I got into it right here, guys. I got into it right after this push, I believe. Yes, it was right on this push. So you guys can see we had this break, right? We had this retest, and look what happened on the retest. Look at the 60 hold on AMD intraday yesterday. Break, retest. I got in off this 60. Got a nice push originally, was in the profit, but it just sat here for almost 30 minutes. While the market was pushing straight up, AMD just stayed sideways. Eventually, I just took my profit on this push right here. I was just tired of sitting in it. So I took a small profit on it, but then you can see it sort of continued to rally without me here. But either way, it was a good trade. Break and retest of that $60 level. You can see right here, break, retest, $60 hold. That's why I went ahead and jumped in yesterday. Nvidia, same exact thing. Look at the break and retest of 127.50. I took this trade as well, and I unfortunately barely made any money on it as well. So just did not, like I said in the beginning of the stream, did not execute on these break and retest as good as I should have. And these break and retests were perfect. So if we zoom out to the 4-hour chart, why was I watching the 127.50 level? You can see this rejection here. You can see this rejection here, 127.50. And it is no surprise that yesterday, you can see it right here actually. Look at the 5-minute chart. You guys see this previous rejection, 127.50? Right there, 127.40, 127.50. Look at what happened on the 1-minute chart, guys. Look how perfect that is. Look at that break. Look at that retest. Look at this candle. Look how perfect. It makes me happy to see how perfect that is. Because I know that I can do this over and over again. I know that the strategy that I use is replicable. That's the most important, right? Whether you miss a trade, you don't catch something, you saw something that was according to your strategy and you messed it up, you should walk away being happy that what you're looking for, what your strategy is working, and that you know that it will show up again, right? So you can see the break, you can see the retest, you can see the perfect pullback to 127.40, and then just a fantastic trade off of it. Just didn't execute it to the best of my ability, and got a very nice push to the upside. So today, what has to happen, right, on NVIDIA? Well, you need to hold this level, right? 127.40 that we just talked about, that has to hold. If that breaks, you see more downside, right? If that holds, right, if this turns into support, then you could definitely see another push on NVIDIA, right? Because this is a previous major rejection that is turning into a support. And you need to see that hold. If that does not hold, downside. If it does, look for maybe another push. So break and retest on NVIDIA looks pretty solid still. All right, Apple. Apple itself is doing a little break and retest here of 150. So you can see if I go out to get a little bit more time here. So here's 150 on Apple. You can see this is a very important level. You see the previous rejections, previous support, 150 psych level. And you can see Apple, if I go to the 30-minute, Apple right here had a previous little double top rejection at 150. Yesterday, it got above it. It pulled back to it. It held it very nicely. And we're sort of maintaining above that level. Now, the one thing I want to put on the screen here is the 100 SMA. So daily SMA, let's pop on the 100. You guys can see this green line right here. This is the 100 SMA on Apple on the daily chart. So this is going to be a big level here, right? This is why you're starting to see a little bit of struggle. You also have the 50 SMA above at around 153. So Apple, you have the 100 SMA, you have 150. You'd want to see it maintain 150. If you break 150, then look for downside. And then if you get upside, watch that 100 SMA rejection area. Okay. You also have earnings coming up in 2 days. So that's another thing to watch, or tomorrow. All right. And then finally, just want to go over the Dixie real quick. The dollar index, guys, you can see yesterday. All right. You got some downside on it. I'll go to the 5-minute chart. All right. So you can see this was yesterday's move intraday. You got a very big move to the downside on the dollar. So I think this was sort of fueling the upside early morning. As the market was sort of going crazy to the upside early morning, the dollar was just getting sort of killed here, down about 1.18%, which is pretty big for the dollar. And then today, again this morning, we got another drop on the dollar. So keep an eye on this, guys. If the dollar starts to come back up, right, you're going to see weakness on this market. This is definitely almost directly correlated to the market as of late. Yesterday, it was directly correlated to the market, for sure, right? It was absolutely directly correlated to the market yesterday morning. So let's see if there's any correlation to it again today. I would absolutely be watching this intraday. All right, let me pull up the stocks that you guys want to look at, and then it's time for us to head out. Jeez. Damn. Who deleted all this? I mean, come on, guys. Someone's got to ruin it. All right, shop. We already did Tesla. We did Meta. We did AMD. We didn't do any of these. So let's go big time speed round. Shopify. Shopify stuck under 30. It has to get over 30. It's just stuck in a channel, guys. 30 to 27.29 or 27.89. Stuck in a channel, needs to break it. Coca-Cola, nice push off earnings. You got the big push above supply, came back down to it, held it. I would watch for continuation on Coca-Cola. Keep an eye on the XLP because that's going to be very important. XLP was strong yesterday. Look for that to continue. And also watch for Pepsi as it's breaking this move. All right? The hell is that noise? I think there's a dog. You guys hear that? I don't know if there's a dog dying next door. I don't know what that is. Holy crap. That is a little freaky. BAX, Baxter International. I have no idea what this is. It looks like it's dead. That's what I'll say. I would say this looks like a dead stock. Okay. MRK, Merck. Guys, I'm not going to go over all these earnings stocks. Sorry. I know it's probably the same person again. I can't do analysis on earnings stocks. I can show you. I don't have the time for it now. I'll show you the big ones, right? I'll show you like Meta and all that because it's important, right? They're big names, but I'm not going to go over Merck. I'm not going to go over BAX. I have no idea what this is. I don't know why this even applies. It just doesn't align with the trading that I recommend, right, on this channel. I will only ever recommend things on my channel that I agree with, right? If you come to this channel, I will try to explain what I look for, right? I don't look at random stocks, right? I look at big tech. So CVS, you got earnings coming up. Dead. I mean, it's just dead, guys. Some of these stocks are just dead. Nothing's going to happen, right? They're just dead. UNH, watch out for this. UNH, nice push. Wow. I missed this push on UNH. Very nice push on UNH. 550, watch for that. Maybe watch out for the XLV as well. XLV pushing up nicely as well. So XLV and UNH, very nice push. I missed this, damn. Target. Yeah, that guy made 100% on Coca-Cola. Come on, guys. Target back above 157. Very nice push. You guys can see very nice push over 157. You need a pullback there before going long, but look for a pullback to 157. Amazon. Amazon down off of earnings on Google, Microsoft under the 118 level. I'd look for weakness here. That's a big breakdown on Amazon. I'd look for it to trade to this channel low right here, guys. I'd look for it to trade to this channel low around 114. All right. Already did Netflix. All right, I'm going to just ignore the rest of these. ALK, BSX, BMY, Crocs, LRCX. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Have a great day. Please, I'm sorry. I can't, I don't feel right just like throwing out some kind of explanation for a stock I've never seen before and that has earnings the next day. It just is not sit comfortable with me, right? I can't say something that I've never seen in my life. I have no idea what the company does. It trades at like $10 a share, and it has earnings the next day. I mean, it is literally a roll of the dice on something like that, guys. You have no idea what's going to happen. And I'm not going to bullshit you here, right? That is the 100% truth. If you are trading some stock that has not moved for a year, it has earnings the next day, it trades at like $10 a share, there's no liquidity in it, and you're just watching it because maybe your friend told you about the stock, dead. The stock is dead. Do not trade it, okay? If you're looking to trade, you need high liquidity, tech names that move, the option contracts move. You need liquidity in these names. Please do not trade these unknown stocks. Okay, fantastic. I hope everyone has a great day. Sorry for being blunt on this stream, but I have to be because sometimes I see things that are just a little bit ridiculous. So have a great day. Press the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you guys in tomorrow's stream. Good luck today. And watch out for Meta. Watch out for Meta. All right, guys. I'll see you guys mañana. Peace out.